Okay, this is the last time I'll begin. I have tried filming this video multiple times over the past 2 weeks, and I keep getting tripped up on my words or not saying what I want to say and overthinking it. And so today, we're trying a different approach where Grady is over there. And I'm going to be talking to him, which you will then obviously also be listening to. So I'm directing this at both of you, him and you. So I've had some thoughts recently. And obviously I have been gone from YouTube for almost 8 weeks now, almost 2 months. Right after I posted my last video, I actually ended up getting sick, which wiped me out for like 2 weeks. And then it was the holidays, and then the start of this year has been a little chaotic, would you say? In this unintentional hiatus from not only YouTube, but from all social media, I've had the time and space to reflect on my relationship with social media, what I want from my relationship with social media moving forward, and also have had time to reflect on my decision to leave my 9-to-5 job and working for myself and all of that, which, if you don't know, my business that I work for myself on is content creation, and then also a online community for sober and sober curious young adults, which I will have down below if you ever want to check it out and join. I think I shared in my most recent videos that my mental health has been rocky lately. I also shared it with you. I've always been really hard on myself, but especially I think since I left my job, I've been even more hard on myself. Like, especially since I've been working for myself, because now I know that anything that does or doesn't get done that day is up to me. It's all counting on me. If something doesn't get done, I'm the only one who's hurting from it. And so that's been tough. And I think now that social media and creating this YouTube content and Instagram and TikTok and just creating content in general is my full-time job, I think it's taken the fun out of it a little bit in like trying to plan things and being on all platforms. And I think for a while I was in I had like tunnel vision towards my goals. So I would, at the beginning, 5 months ago now, that it's been 5 months since I left my job. At the beginning of all of that, I was listening to like only entrepreneurship podcasts, and all of them were saying you have to be on every platform, go where your audience is going to grow, and put your head down and don't talk to anyone for 6 months and just see what you can accomplish. And I think for a while that was my mentality. But for someone who has underlying anxiety and just underlying things that I'm still working through, I don't think that has been the healthiest thing for me, because it's taken away from time that I can direct towards healing other areas of my life. Like, for example, I'm in therapy, and I feel like throughout the week, she says, okay, reflect on some of the things we talked about and we can talk about it next week. And I feel like I just give myself no time to reflect on it, because I'm just so, at least in the beginning, I was just so focused on growth, and it just wasn't super authentic in like the content I was creating and all of that. And also when, for example, like at the beginning of this year, when I was planning my goals for the year, and all these podcasts were saying, okay, well, revenue and in my case, like membership should be your goals. So I was setting all these goals of like revenue to make and membership to have in the Steady Sunday group. But just setting those goals of revenue, like the reason why I had to set revenue goals was because I need to sustain myself now that this is my job. And when I left my job, I definitely wasn't in a financially, like I was financially comfortable in the sense that I had enough savings to last me these past few months, but my business by no means was making enough to sustain me. Everything that I make currently goes right back into the business. I was even looking at my accounting stuff today, and it was like, I think I had a profit of $5. It was like everything just goes back in, which is great. And that's how I think it's supposed to be in the beginning. But just the idea of setting revenue goals and growth goals, it just didn't feel right to be like focused on growing the group. Like I feel like I'd rather grow it organically rather than like, I don't know. Does that make sense? So with that, I think I've just put myself in a mentality where I don't really want that to be the focus anymore. What I'm trying to say here is, of course, I want there to be growth of the Steady Sunday brand and the Steady Sunday squad so that we can reduce the stigma of sobriety, normalize sobriety in your 20s and young adulthood, and help and inspire people. But I don't want the focus of growth and revenue and all of those like businessy aspects to get in the way of the mission or become the focus over the mission, because I think that's what was happening. Was I was focusing so much on the growth and the business aspects and losing sight a little bit of what the mission was. So that's kind of what I'm trying to say. And as a result of that, that means that we likely won't grow as fast, which means that I need another way to make income. And I currently have like different side hustles, cat sitting. The cats are still here, by the way. So the financial aspect, definitely, I think many people who have struggled with this too know that when you're under some sort of financial stress, it kind of takes over everything else. And that's not saying that I am privileged to not be in a position where if I ran out of money, I'd be out on the streets. Like I have people in my life who would support me, but just the idea of being self-sufficient is something that I want to be, and I know I won't be able to do that anytime soon with the business. And I don't want to say that because it sounds like I'm quitting, or I'm not, or not, maybe not quitting, but I don't have faith in the business, and I do have faith in it. I just want to be able to grow it my way. Like something my therapist always said to me when I was tell her about why I felt like this all had to be kind of urgent. I felt this urgency and it had to grow fast. She would always say, well, why does it have to grow fast? And I would say, because it's like my savings account that I'm living off of is a clock, and I'm just seeing it go closer and closer to zero. And I feel like I have to be growing so that I can sustain myself off of my business by the time it gets to zero. So that's where this sense of urgency came from. I think also when you're an entrepreneur or you're just starting a business, like you want it to grow fast. I think that's just a natural thing that a lot of people want. The point of all this being, I kind of want to, at least at this point in my life, I don't want to treat this business so much like a business. I want to get back to a space where it was fun for me. It keeps me sober, because I think the irony of all of this and the crux of why I feel like I need to make a change is because this thing that I have built to help myself stay sober, which is, the YouTube channel, the Steady Sunday community, I've ultimately built all of that and done all of this to help myself stay sober, and also hopefully inspire others and help others along the way. That's been the goal of all of this. And now this thing that I've built to help my sobriety and my mental health is now the thing that is damaging my mental health and, quite honestly, putting my sobriety at risk in some situations. Like there's been times that I've been so stressed that I've thought about numbing out with alcohol, and that would just defeat the whole purpose of this, to have the thing that I built to help me stay sober eventually be the reason why I drink. So that's just the truth of how I've been feeling. I've also been having an interesting internal battle with social media and how I want to show up online. I think before, like in the beginning, I really dove into the blog. I dove into the sober Instagram page, and I was sharing my story, and that truly helped me stay sober. I don't think I would have been able to stay sober and grow and create this community without doing that. But at the same time, I think there's a time and place for that. And right now I feel myself pulling back from the things I want to share. I feel like it's been like that for the past year, where I haven't been posting as much, or when I am posting, I feel like I have to think of something that has either gone wrong or that I've learned from and post about it. And it's not like as authentic and free flowing as it once was. And so I don't want to have to pre-plan the things I'm posting and create a bunch of content on all these different platforms that doesn't feel authentic. And also, if I'm just being real with myself, like I don't really want to share that much. Like I always want to be open and honest, but I think I've been kind of lying to myself and telling myself like, oh, if I just do this for long enough, I will enjoy posting on social media. I'll enjoy like sharing my life. And I think for the past like 2.5 years, that's has been my guiding light. And there's a reason why I always go through these like dips in my social media posting is because I think deep down I don't actually enjoy it very much. And I was really using it as a tool for my sobriety, which is great. And now I'm just feeling some resistance on social media. And I think this will come in waves. This is just how I'm feeling right now. There could be times in the future where I'm feeling much more excited to share things and get back on social media, maybe. But for right now, that's not the place that I'm in. I think YouTube will always have a special place in my heart. It's my favorite platform. I love the creative process of it. I love editing videos. I love creating long form videos, but this pressure to be on every platform and create short form videos now and be on TikTok and be on YouTube Shorts is just too much for me, and it's taking the fun out of it. I've been feeling called to release emotions and release things that I'm feeling in a way that doesn't like give me direct feedback and validation, if that makes sense. So like YouTube, I think that's why I like it, is because sure, you can see the views and the likes, but it's not as like close up. It doesn't feel as close up as like Instagram or TikTok where you post something and you can see it all right there and it's people are commenting and all this. Like YouTube feels a little more separated from that. Same with like blog posts, podcasting, all of that. So I think that's more, at least right now, the direction I'm leaning towards. So with that said, I want to start being really intentional with the way that I show up on social media, and that will likely look like not posting as much and using Instagram, for example, as a tool to connect with you all and like read the DMs, but not necessarily be posting, 15 Instagram stories of my day, because I thought that's what I used to have to do, and I tried doing that, and that's just not what I enjoy. I don't know if it's burnout that's causing all of this. That's the thing, is like I don't want to make these grand conclusions and start talking about my next steps because I don't know if this is a temporary feeling or if this is just how I'm feeling. I feel like it is sort of an epiphany in that it's pretty true to me, especially in terms of social media, but I'm more talking about like the working for myself aspect. Like right now, my next step would be, okay, start job searching and be intentional about the job search. Part of me feels like I failed or I'm giving up if I do that. And what I'm trying to remind myself is, A, I don't regret leaving my job at all because, one, I don't think it was the right fit for me. And two, if I hadn't done this and tried working for myself and doing all that, I think I would have always wondered what if, because that's what I've always wondered since I started this, whether it was this and school or this and work. I've always wondered, well, if only I could just do this full time, I would be happy. And now I'm here and it's not what I thought it would be. And I don't want this to sound discouraging to anyone who's thinking of, taking their side hustle full time or leaving their job or following their passion, because I think a lot of times it can work out. And I don't think this is the end of my working for myself road. I think that is something that will potentially happen in my future. But at this point in my life, it's just too much for me to like only be relying on myself. And there's also things that I still want to learn from others. And I know I could do that working for myself, but I would also really like to, I don't know, it's like the grass is always greener, I guess. Like maybe if I do get into another job, I'll miss this time of working for myself. And now that I'm working for myself, I miss having a job. So I think I just need to accept that there will be good and bad in both situations. But right now, I am feeling called to step away from this as like a full-time thing and just get back to it being something that's fun, that helps me, that helps others, that's a creative outlet. And yeah, the podcast that I was telling you about that I was listening today was about quitting and when you should quit, and if quitting is always a bad thing. There's a negative connotation with quitting. Like if you're a quitter, that's something bad. If you quit on something, then you failed and you gave up and whatnot. But then it was giving all of these examples. I'll leave it down below. It was We Can Do Hard Things, Glennon Doyle, one of their episodes. It was talking about like some good examples of quitting. Simone Biles, who knew that that's what she needed to do on a world stage, was essentially quit and take time for herself. And also quitting relationships that aren't serving you, quitting drinking, quitting disordered eating behaviors. All these things are things that you quit that turn out to be good for you. So it was kind of refuting the notion that quitting is always a bad thing. And the one thing that they said that really stuck with me was that I am in charge of protecting my own peace. There's no one in your life that's going to know you better than you and know how you're feeling. So in that sense, no one can tell you when you've had enough or when you should be moving on to something else, or when you feel burnt out or when you feel too stressed. It has to come from me. And I think I have an issue with trusting my intuition and trusting my gut on things like this. And I feel like, if only I just kept pushing, I will get to a place where this is what I want to be doing again. And this is fun for me once I achieve these things. But my gut right now is telling me that this is not where I'm supposed to be, which is ironic because that's what my gut was telling me when I was quitting my job. So I feel like that's where I'm confused, because I'm like, well, my gut told me to do that, and now was my gut wrong? But I don't think my gut was wrong, because like I said, I don't think I would have come to this realization if I didn't have the time and space to do so these past 5 months. I just need to trust that all of this is part of the greater journey of my life, and everything is happening as it's supposed to and taking me in the direction that I'm supposed to be going in. No one can know what's going on in my head all day. I'm the one who's in charge of protecting my peace, so when something comes up that violates that, I need to be the one in charge of shutting that down. And right now, that for me is this unhealthy relationship with social media and growth and all of that. I think too, for the past 2.5 years, I've let this, we talked about it in a Study Sunday meeting today actually, about addiction transference and how those with addictive personalities, like myself, they say replace alcohol with something. You can't give up the habit unless you replace it. And at first, I think I always thought, the thing that I did was working out. Like I replaced alcohol with working out, which I did. What we talked about today and what today made me realize was, I think it was that, but it was also this YouTube channel and this platform. I think in order for me to get sober, I had to transfer my addiction to something else, which was working out and all of this. Like I think for the past 2.5 years, I've spent many, many weekends, many hours missing out on things to work on this. And I don't regret it because it's connected me with so many amazing people. I get messages that I've helped people, which fulfills me. I'm so happy that that's something that is a result of all of this. I want to continue having that impact, but I can't help others if I myself am crumbling. And I can't help others if I'm putting out content just because I feel like I have to, but it doesn't feel authentic and it's actually harming my mental health. And I can't work for myself and work on this business if it's harming my mental health. So I need to put myself and my mental health first. And right now, for me, that means kind of reeling back on what I am sharing. Yeah, I just wanted to keep you all in the loop about what's been going on up here. I just want to get back to a place where it's fun, creative, and for me, that's going to look like trying to post consistently, but not beating myself up if I miss an upload because I'm out there living my life. I want to talk about things as I'm going through them, but not put pressure on myself to talk about everything. and just take my foot off the gas a little bit and slow down and enjoy life a bit more. Because at this point, I'm not in a place to do all of this healthily. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching and for supporting always. And I will see you in the next video, which will be soon. I can't promise when, but it will be soon. The end.